Hello, writers. Welcome to Thursday of our class. I guess we're on lesson number 6 now. I want to just tell everybody I really appreciate how hard you've been working on your writing projects and on your forum posts. And I've been looking at the sort of workshop responses. I was not going to have you all produce workshop drafts of this first project. When we do it in the classroom, it's kind of the considered kind of the first project. It's the lowest stakes. It's the lowest points. It's supposed to be the easiest one, so to speak. So, but I thought it might be useful for us to get a little bit of feedback on this week before we submitted those things. And remember, your final drafts of those projects, project number 1, the instructions or procedures that you're putting together, they will need to be submitted to assignments over here on Monday. But I do not yet have that Dropbox set up because I want you all to work on some revisions, proofreading, and editing. I will go into the forum this afternoon after everybody should be pretty much done posting, and take a look and respond to the drafts that y'all have been posting. And I'll probably offer some very sort of general sort of thoughts and feedback, and I probably won't have time to comment directly on everybody's drafts, but some sort of overview and feedback. And maybe I'll post it as a video, I don't know. But stay tuned, there'll be an announcement on that. And so yeah, keep going on those. If you haven't yet contributed to the forum, if you haven't been able to provide a little bit of feedback, please do log in and do so as soon as possible. In the lesson for today, it's really all about getting these final drafts put together for this first major project. I think the class is in good shape based on the writing that we've seen submitted so far for the quizzes and the forums. I think everybody's doing really quite nicely, and I'm not too concerned. But we do want to give you a chance to sort of revise those materials as much as possible before you submit them on Monday by midnight. And so really that is what the lesson today is about. It is mostly work on perfecting this set of instructions, this document that you're working for project number 1. You'll notice that the activities for today, they suggest looking at project number 1 handouts, a handout, review your draft, but then there's this other element, and this is what I tried to sort of articulate in the lesson notes. And if you look in the lesson notes today, they're pretty dense. I tried to break them up a little bit. We've been talking about document design in our forums and everything, and I'm not trying to overwhelm you here. So basically, if I could distill this down, I would say let's do some revisions, but then at some point we want to do some editing and proofreading, and editing and proofreading is different. Editing and proofreading, it may be something that occurs throughout your writing process, but really at the end, before you submit this thing and make it available to the public at large, obviously you want to do some proofreading. You don't want to have a lot of surface errors. You don't want to have a lot of sentence errors. You don't want to have those distracting elements that get in the way of your effective communication. And in my notes, I point out that there are difference of opinions about what constitutes correctness, whether something is grammatically correct or not. Usage changes all the time. This is the flexibility of language. But for the most part, we will be focusing on standard edited English, about what the expectations that people might have if they read a document at the college level, or any of these documents that might be published in a public forum. You want them to look good. You want them to have follow the conventions. You know, if you're texting your friends or if you're doing an email, you're maybe more informal. But with these types of writing assignments, obviously, we want to be following standard edited English. So basically, I've got some grammar exercises for you to do, and I know that that does not probably sound much fun to you, but I've tried to distill this down to the areas that I have found students generally have the most mistakes with in their first drafts and basically throughout a class. We assume that you come into college with a certain sort of level of writing skills, particularly if you're not taking a transitional studies class at Sharon State College. Your test scores are such that you probably have a hold on most of these skills. But we can always benefit from going back and reviewing probably the most basic elements, and that has to do with the way that we set up sentences with subjects and verbs, and how we then punctuate those sentences. So the subjects and verbs that we might use a technical term, an independent clause, something that can stand by itself with a subject and verb, and then you mash that together in another part of your sentence with another independent clause with a subject or verb, or sometimes it's a dependent clause so that it can't really stand on its own, but it has to relate to the other part of the sentence. This is all done through subjects and verbs. That's really what you should be focusing on, not learning a bunch of comma rules. You should be looking at the structure of your sentences to see how they are therefore punctuated. And out of this emerges some basic elements that you can refer to when you're doing your revision and proofreading. And it is probably something that's best done when you are proofreading and editing. In your book, in the appendix, there are basically just a summary of a lot of grammar, punctuation, and usage. The ones that are probably most germane have to do with the comma section on page 371, the fragment section on page 373, and then the run-on sentence section. So what you'll see in today's lesson is a series of exercises that I'm going to have you do. 5 of these exercises, they're grammar sheets. Just follow the instructions. You'll see them listed here under the least you know about English exercises. They're paired with a book, and what I would like you to do is I've provided free of charge this scan of a textbook that I've used, a grammar textbook, The Least You Should Know About English. I've used it for several years in my classes. It's even a dated version of it, so it's not really a copyright issue. I mean, these issues really don't change. And what it does is it takes you through some basic lessons, and they're supposed to be simple and pretty straightforward. You'll even see some of my scribblings on the book. But there's 20 pages here. It's meant to supplement the appendix. Just take a look at them. You probably are not going to be able to sort of internalize all of this at first, but these rules will then be useful for you as you fill out those grammar sheets. There's a little bit of discussion about prepositional phrases because you kind of got to know prepositional phrases before you can determine whether something is a sentence or a clause, an independent clause or dependent clause, versus a phrase. And the most common phrase systems that we have in English happen to be these prepositional phrases. And some of these prepositions and prepositional phrases can be confusing when you're trying to look at your sentences for subjects and verbs. So there's a few sort of overview elements there. And then there's this section on dependent clauses, in contrast to independent clauses. Don't be freaked out by the language. It's just a way to sort of get you into the terms. And you'll see several examples. You'll see some areas where the rules are kind of, I don't know, that's English. There are some exceptions to every rule, but for the most part, these will be useful to you. You don't have to complete the exercises here. I've posted the exercises separately. The most important part of this handout is really where it starts talking about how you correct these elements, correcting fragments, and then correcting run-on sentences. There's a discussion of fanboys, which is part of the exercises today. There's this little section on page 89 that is just a nice distillation of all the ways that you can fix these sentences. If you master this element, clauses put together in sentences, and these basic rules to avoid fragments and splices and run-ons, you will eliminate 75% of the issues that we have with college level writing as far as correctness and grammar goes. And we'll work on these throughout the summer. But so take a look at those, review these documents. Hopefully they will help you out. And then once you've sort of, again, reviewed those and looked at those and you have this handout as kind of a reference, you can go ahead and do the least you know exercises. These are listed. There's just 5 sheets. They're relating to the exercises from the book. And then You can submit those by following the instructions. The link is right in today's lessons. The assignments area where you will submit these, your responses. Just follow the instructions there. Contact me if you have any questions about how to do this. And then that's basically it. I have posted blog number 2. You guys did a really great job with your first blogs. Really interesting to read. Some very creative, moving, and interesting posts. So I hope you'll go back and read all those. Blog number 2 is posted. It's not due for a week. So again, what are we focusing on today? Getting project number 1 submitted on Monday, doing final revisions, proofreading and editing, doing these grammar exercises to show me that you've tried to work through some of these basic rules. And hopefully this will lead to some really fine drafts on Monday. Contact me if you have any questions. We are busy packing up our house right now because we're relocating at the end of next week. It's a busy time for all of us, I know, but just send email notices. I'll try and get in touch with you as soon as possible. And like I said, I'll respond and update grades and post responses to the remaining elements today. But for the most part, we're kind of up to date, up to speed in the course. So keep working hard. I appreciate your efforts. See you on Monday.